TLC star Jessa Duggar's baby seriously ill. Family in tears at hospital. The news that has shaken fans of the Duggar family and TLC audiences everywhere came late this week when reports confirmed that Jessa Duggar Seewald, one of the most well-known daughters from the famous 19 Kids and Counting on reality shows, is facing one of the most terrifying experiences of her life as her baby has been rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The heartbreaking development has left the Duggar family in visible tears, with loved ones gathering around the young mother and her husband, Ben Seewald, in a desperate attempt to provide comfort and support, while prayers and hopes flood social media from millions of fans who have followed Jessa's life since childhood. The normally joyful atmosphere surrounding baby news in the Duggar household has shifted into a somber, fearful mood as everyone waits anxiously for updates on the health of Jessa's precious child. For a family so publicly tied to faith, resilience, and large gatherings of love, the sight of Jessa's baby in a hospital bed surrounded by doctors and nurses has brought an entirely new kind of attention, one that mixes celebrity fascination with deep human sympathy. Jessa Duggar, once celebrated as one of the most confident and vibrant members of the Duggar family, has always been open about her love for children, her dreams of raising a big family with her husband Ben, and the joys and struggles of motherhood. Viewers have watched her transition from a spirited teenage girl on 19 Kids and Counting into a devoted wife and mother of 4 in her spin-off series and on social media, where she frequently shares glimpses of family life, parenting milestones, and her reflections on faith. But now those same platforms that once served as spaces for sharing milestones have become channels of urgent concern as thousands of fans refresh feeds for updates, praying for positive news. The moment has highlighted both the vulnerability of public figures and the universal fragility of parenthood, as no amount of fame, preparation, or faith can shield a family from the sudden crisis of health that life sometimes brings. Eyewitnesses from the hospital described the Duggar family's arrival as emotional and heart-wrenching, with Jessa holding her baby tightly as medical staff rushed the child into an emergency unit. Sources close to the family confirmed that Ben stayed right at his wife's side, comforting her as much as possible, though visibly shaken himself. Other Duggar siblings and parents Jim, Bob, and Michelle arrived shortly after, some reportedly in tears as they joined the family circle of prayer in the waiting room. For a family often seen smiling on camera, the raw emotion and visible fear in their faces underscored the seriousness of the situation. Hospital staff, while professional and careful not to reveal private details, acknowledged that the case was being treated with urgency, and additional specialists were called in to assist with the baby's care. The Duggar family's faith, which has been the central pillar of their identity both on television and in their personal lives, has become their lifeline in this moment. Inside the hospital, loved ones reportedly gathered in prayer circles, with Jessa and Ben bowing their heads alongside siblings, parents, and in-laws who streamed into the facility as word spread. Verses of scripture were read aloud, songs of worship were quietly hummed, and tears flowed freely as the family leaned on one another for strength. Friends close to the Duggars described the atmosphere as one of both fear and fierce hope, where every heartbeat, every doctor's update, and every sign from the baby was met with either deep anxiety or trembling relief. Supporters online echoed that same faith, with fans across platforms posting messages of encouragement, prayer chains, and well wishes for the family, demonstrating once again the deep connection between the Duggar clan and their vast audience. For Jessa, the ordeal has been particularly heartbreaking given her long and public journey through motherhood. Over the years, she has candidly shared stories about pregnancy complications, miscarriages, and the joys of welcoming new life into her home. Her honesty about the difficulties of parenting in the spotlight, as well as the daily trials of balancing multiple young children, has made her a relatable figure for mothers everywhere. This current crisis, however, has gone beyond the normal ups and downs of family life and struck at the very core of her identity as a mother. Friends say Jessa has been inconsolable at times, her tears reflecting not only the fear of losing her child, but also the weight of seeing her family rally around her during such a painful ordeal. For someone often admired for her composure, grace, and optimism, seeing her invisible distress has been especially moving for both fans and family alike. For Jessa, the journey is one of raw vulnerability, exposing both the depth of her love as a mother and the strength of her spirit as she faces the unimaginable. For Ben, it is a chance to prove his devotion and faith, walking hand in hand with his wife through the darkest valley. And for the Duggar family, it is a moment of reckoning that reminds them of what truly matters beyond fame, beyond television, and beyond controversy: the health and survival of a precious child. In the end, whether the story ends in miraculous recovery or in heartbreaking grief, it will be remembered as one of the most emotional and defining moments in the Duggar family's journey. Fans will recall the tears shed, the prayers lifted, and the way an entire community came together in support of one small life that mattered more than all the fame in the world. For now, all anyone can do is wait, pray, and hope that Jessa Duggar's baby will pull through, that the family's tears of sorrow will turn into tears of relief and joy, and that the long nights at the hospital will eventually give way to brighter days at home surrounded by love. What happens next for Jessa Duggar and her baby after the hospital crisis? After the shocking news that Jessa Duggar's baby had been rushed to the hospital in a life-threatening condition, the burning question now is what comes next. The Duggar family, known for sharing both joyful and difficult moments with their large audience, has entered a delicate period of waiting, reflection, and cautious hope. Doctors are continuing to monitor the baby's condition closely, running round-the-clock tests and assessments, while family members remain stationed at the hospital, refusing to leave Jessa and Ben alone during this uncertain chapter. The outcome is not guaranteed, but what happens in the next days and weeks could define the future of Jessa's family life in profound ways. Medical sources familiar with such cases, though not speaking directly about Jessa's child, suggest that the baby will likely remain under strict observation in intensive care for a prolonged period. This means constant monitoring of vital signs, the presence of multiple specialists working in shifts, and possible interventions such as assisted breathing, intravenous medication, or even surgical procedures depending on the exact cause of the illness. For Jessa and Ben, this could mean an extended hospital stay, where their daily life is entirely reshaped around long hours by their child's bedside, interrupted sleep, and the emotional roller coaster of good news followed by setbacks. Families in such situations often describe the experience as living minute to minute, never knowing whether the next hour will bring relief or despair. For the Duggar family at large, the crisis has become a test of unity. Siblings have begun organizing schedules to provide ongoing support. Some will take turns watching Jessa's older children at home so Ben and Jessa can focus entirely on the baby in the hospital, while others remain on call to deliver meals, transport family members, or simply sit in prayer together. Jim, Bob, and Michelle, the grandparents, are expected to remain close to Jessa throughout the ordeal, both as a source of emotional comfort and as anchors of faith for the rest of the family. Insiders note that while grief has been overwhelming, there is also a sense of determination among the Duggars to demonstrate their resilience and their belief that miracles can happen even in the darkest times. Fans, meanwhile, are deeply invested in what happens next. Online communities have turned Jessa's crisis into a rallying point for shared compassion. Many speculate hopefully about a positive recovery, while others are voicing the possibility that the ordeal could change the trajectory of Jessa's public life. Some believe that if her baby recovers, Jessa may dedicate herself even more deeply to family-centered content, using her platform to advocate for health awareness and the importance of faith in hard times. Others whisper fears that if the outcome is tragic, Jessa may step away from the public eye entirely, choosing privacy and healing over the scrutiny of fame. Either way, fans agree that this moment is transformative. Jessa Duggar's life, and by extension the family narrative, will never be the same. The question of Jessa and Ben's emotional recovery is also significant. Even if their baby survives and stabilizes, the trauma of watching their child fight for life will likely leave long-lasting emotional scars. Psychologists often emphasize that parents in such situations face ongoing anxiety, stress, and even post-traumatic symptoms long after the medical crisis ends. For a young couple like Jessa and Ben, this could mean months of therapy, spiritual counseling, and the slow process of rebuilding their sense of normalcy. Ben Seewald, Jessa's husband, has also been a central figure in this emotional journey. Known for his quiet, thoughtful demeanor and devotion to his wife and children, Ben has been described as a rock of support in the midst of chaos. Friends noted that he has stayed by Jessa's side every step of the way, refusing to leave her alone even for a moment as doctors and nurses worked. His own tears were evident, though he reportedly tried to stay strong for Jessa, offering words of encouragement and physical comfort. Family members have spoken about his unwavering faith, noting that he has led prayers both at the hospital and at home, constantly reminding those around him of the power of hope and divine intervention. The sight of Ben holding Jessa's hand tightly as she cried has been described as one of the most powerful images of the crisis, a visible representation of a young couple clinging to one another and to their faith in the face of overwhelming fear. The outpouring of support from fans has been unprecedented. Across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, the hashtags #PrayForJessa and #DuggarBaby have trended, with thousands of fans leaving heartfelt messages, stories of their own struggles, and words of encouragement. Some fans have even organized online prayer vigils, setting specific times to gather virtually and pray for Jessa's baby. Others have created artwork, digital cards, and video tributes as a way of showing solidarity with the family. The Duggar family's official pages have been inundated with supportive comments, with many fans expressing how much Jessa's transparency in the past about family life and personal struggles has meant to them. This collective show of compassion underscores how deeply embedded the Duggars remain in the lives of their viewers, even years after their flagship show ended. Inside the hospital, however, the reality remains raw and intense. Reports suggest that doctors are working tirelessly to stabilize the baby, running tests, monitoring vital signs, and administering treatments as needed. The cause of the illness has not been publicly disclosed, as the family has requested privacy during this time, but those close to the situation have confirmed that it is serious enough to warrant round-the-clock care and multiple consultations from specialists. Jessa and Ben have reportedly been given a private room near the intensive care unit so they can remain close to their child at all times. Family members have taken turns staying with them, offering food, coffee, and comfort as the hours stretch on. The tension has been described as almost unbearable, with periods of silence interrupted only by sudden tears, whispered prayers, and anxious looks toward the doors of the ICU. For the Duggar parents, Jim, Bob, and Michelle, the crisis is especially difficult. Having raised 19 children, they have faced countless parenting challenges, but nothing compares to the sight of a grandchild fighting for health in a hospital. Witnesses describe Michelle as openly weeping, holding Jessa in her arms and whispering words of comfort, while Jim Bob has been visibly shaken, pacing the halls and praying aloud. Their grief is matched only by their determination to be pillars of support, not only for Jessa, but for the entire extended family that looks to them for leadership. In this moment, the Duggar family's unity has been a powerful force, with siblings, in-laws, and grandchildren all joining together in solidarity, reminding everyone that beyond the television cameras and public image, they are a family bound by deep ties of love and loyalty. The media has also been quick to respond, with outlets across the country reporting on the situation. While many headlines focus on the drama of a reality star facing tragedy, those close to the family emphasize the deeply human side of the story. This is not just a tabloid spectacle, but a family in genuine pain, a mother and father fighting for their baby's health, and a community rallying to support them. Entertainment news has covered the flood of fan prayers, while local outlets near the family's hometown have focused on the community's response, including churches organizing prayer groups and neighbors offering assistance. The story has transcended entertainment news to become a broader reflection on the fragility of life and the universal struggles that unite people across differences. As the hours pass, no one knows for certain what the outcome will be. But what is clear is the overwhelming love surrounding Jessa, Ben, and their baby. Whether through the tears of siblings in the hospital, the whispered prayers of parents, or the digital flood of support from strangers across the world, the family is not alone. Every update, no matter how small, is met with waves of emotion as fans and loved ones cling to hope.